right. Hi, welcome everybody. As she said, my name's Kate. I'm a registered dietitian here at St. Joseph's Hospital North. You might have seen me around if any of you were ever patients. I do the clinical nutrition as well as some of the food service nutrition. So today I'm going to be giving you some basic tips for healthy holiday eating and cooking, ingredient substitutions, and you'll also be receiving a guide to portion size to kind of help you out, not only for the holidays, but for every day as well. The first on the healthy holiday eating tips is you're going to want to watch the drinks. I know that that's one of our favorite parts of the holidays. But even drinks such as eggnog, cider, sodas, things like that can all contribute to calorie intake, as well as alcoholic beverages. And alcoholic beverages can alter your inhibitions, and so you might not realize you're eating as much as you actually are. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, you probably have heard a lot of, oh, well, I'm just going to skip breakfast and lunch since I'm going to have a huge dinner. That's actually not the best approach as far as saving your calories is concerned, because what happens is when it gets to be dinner time or Thanksgiving meal time, you're so hungry that you tend to overindulge at that meal. So it's best to eat a light breakfast, light lunch, or regular breakfast and lunch, and then enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner, and then stop when you're satisfied, not when you're stuffed. If you feel like your pants are starting to fit a little tighter, that's probably when you should stop. Happens to me too. It's okay. You want to listen to your body. Again, stop when you're satisfied. You want to eat slowly. A lot of times, there's so much stuff and you just want to try to get through it all. But if you eat slowly, put your fork down between meals, things like that, it'll give your body time to process the digestion, and then your body's going to tell your brain that you're full sooner. If you eat quicker, sometimes it doesn't register, and then after you're already stuffed, it's like, I'm full, and you're like, yeah, I know that. So that's one thing that you also want to pay attention to. And then, you also want to make time for exercise. As always, you want to consult your physician before you start an exercise program, just to make sure you are healthy enough and you don't have any type of contraindications that would prevent you from exercising. And you want to make sure that you get some type of physical activity, even if it's parking in the farthest parking spot from the mall you can find when you're doing your shopping. That'll help too, because you're going to get some extra steps in. So little things like that can alter, can help with the burning of calories and preventing weight gain and things like that during the holidays. And then some fun, healthy ingredient substitutions that you could do. In baked goods, applesauce is a good substitution. Unsweetened applesauce is a good substitution for oil or butter. You might see it a lot in brownies, cakes, things like that. The structure seems to hold up pretty well with it, and it reduces the amount of fat and calories pretty significantly. So that could be a substitution that you could use. Eggs, you can substitute egg whites for whole eggs, and you want to use 2 egg whites for every whole egg. So if the recipe calls for 2 whole eggs, you want to use 4 egg whites. So that is one trick. You definitely want to substitute low-fat or skim milk for whole milk if it's not going to affect the structure of the recipe. Sometimes it can, but for the most part, it usually holds up pretty well. Salad dressings, that can be kind of tricky because you're like, oh, I'm eating salad, no big deal. But sometimes the dressings can add some added fat and calories and all that kind of stuff. The best thing to do would be a splash of vinegar and a splash of oil. That would give it just enough flavor without a lot of added fat and calories, and in some instances even carbohydrates if you're a diabetic. But also, you could also do the low fat or low calorie salad dressings if you're not a diabetic. If you're a diabetic, it's better to go with the oil and vinegar because they tend to add more carbs to the lower fat items. Sugar, especially if you're diabetic, you want to try to sweeten things with aspartame or sucralose, so Splenda equals sweet and low, things like that. The new ones, Truvia, Stevia, whichever other ones they have out now. Even sweetening your drinks with that can help a lot too. Help reduce extra calories that you might take in during the holidays. And sodium. Sodium is a tricky one, especially during this time of year. But you want to try to pick items that, especially ingredients, like if a recipe calls for chicken broth, it may be better to choose the low sodium chicken broth rather than the regular chicken broth. That'll reduce sodium a little bit. It's also best to try to make things from scratch if you can. Then you'll know exactly how much salt you're putting in there. It'll a lot of times prepared items tend to have a little bit more sodium in them, and it's harder to control how much sodium you get in your diet. So, but it's very important, especially if you have high blood pressure or kidney disease. You want to make sure that that those are monitored. And then the next page is just a guide to portion size. I got this off of the new healthy plate rather than we used to have the food pyramid, but now we have the healthy food plate. And these are just some of the new recommendations for the dietary guidelines for Americans. It divides it up into food groups, and it's important that you know exactly what one serving size is. If I told you 6 ounces, some of you are going to be like, okay, what is that? What exactly does that mean? What is 6 ounces? So I tried to give you an example of what one serving size would look like. So 1 slice of bread, 2 ounces of cheese, which would be probably like a cube-ish or so. And you want to make sure you're measuring things, but so that's gonna help a lot with controlling the portion sizes at Thanksgiving. If you make sure that you have an accurate scoop of mashed potatoes at 1/2 cup rather than the 2 cups that it looks so good, so we're going to put 2 cups on there. So that might be something to serve yourself with measuring cups rather than just the spoons. So this will hopefully help. And you want to keep in mind that these serving sizes per day are based on a 2,000 calorie diet, and not everybody needs 2,000 calories. So you might need less, you might need more, depending on your height, your weight, things of that nature. And you can go to the www.myplate.gov and get personalized information. They're going to ask you for some information, your age, your height, your weight, things like that, and then it will tell you what the amount of calories that's appropriate for you. So